Welcome to Crime News with Mark Solomon. It's the weekend. It's time for a weekly recap. Lori Vallow declared not competent. Chad Daybell pleads not guilty, sets his arraignment date. A Texas mom trespasses in her daughter's school. A pharmacist is convicted and sentenced to 3 years of prison. And NFL player is arrested. But before we get to that, don't forget to click like and subscribe with a little bell next to it to be notified of future videos. Click the little bell. You won't regret it. Okay, Lori Vallow. She had been asserted to have been not competent by her own attorneys. The district attorney had their own evaluation performed. They agreed. They went in front of the judge this week, and she was declared not competent to stand trial. She has been sentenced or taken away to the Department of Corrections for 90 days for the purpose of restoration. In 90 days, we'll be back and find out whether or not she's restored or whether or not she's going to get another 180 days of restoration. More on that as the story develops. Chad Daybell, her co-defendant, was in court this week, and he pled not guilty to all charges. They did set an arraignment date for June 9. More about that when we find out. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the other news, which we didn't cover this week because of all the other articles that we went a little bit more in depth on. So, pharmacist sentenced to 3 years for trying to spoil the vaccine. This is the pharmacist who literally took something like 500 doses of vaccine out of refrigeration, which essentially spoiled them, made them useless, and he did that for some nefarious purpose. He did not do it as an accident, and as such, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He had been looking at up to 20 years, and he got 3. Seems fair. Seems fair. During a national pandemic, it seems like, you have to have some sort of repercussions for doing something that put other people in jeopardy of not getting the vaccine when they wanted it. Okay. Next case, talking about the Texas mom who trespassed at her daughter's school. I mean, granted, everybody in the school is wearing a mask, but she went in under the false pretenses of being her 13-year-old daughter. So she did it to prove a point that the school security was too lax. She got through the entire day until the end of the day when one of her teachers asked her to stay back, and the teacher said, "You're not your daughter." And she said, "You're right, but the school security stinks." A lot of people feel bad about this in both ways. They think that she did something wrong, which she did, but then also she wanted to prove the point that it was too easy to get into the school. And by doing that, many people feel like she was really wrong, and this is a horrible way to prove a point. And her response was, right, but if people wanted to get into the school to do something bad, there are too many mass shootings in schools. Why don't we have security checkpoints and metal detectors? So people could feel angry for her. People could be angry with her. What are your thoughts? Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about that. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is the former NFL player Kevin Ware, who was arrested on a fugitive bond violation. His girlfriend has been missing since April. Now, I checked. I couldn't find anything about why he was arrested other than he was on bond for some other case. But his girlfriend's been missing. He has not been charged with a murder or disappearance in any way that I could find. Do you know anything about it? Let me know in the comments below. So that is our weekly news update for this week. It's June, It's June 13. If you have any comments, questions, or thoughts, put them in the comments below. Email me or put them on Twitter. You can always tag me at SolomonESQ. I'm here to answer any questions, to address any issues or concerns. And as always, you always have a right to remain silent. Remember that if a police officer asks you questions about the who, what, where, why, or anything, you have a right to say, "I don't want to talk to you." And if they persist, I want a lawyer. Thanks for being with me this week. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. We'll see you back here again next week. Thank you for watching.